Hey y'all, I'm Hope, and today I am talking about my June TBR. Normally I'd be playing TBR Betrayal, but literally everything that could have gone wrong this month went wrong. So we're scrapping that, and instead I thought I would talk about the books that I am planning to read, that just like I need to read or are at the top of my to-read list. But I was feeling pretty uninspired, and I have a handful of books I knew I needed to read, so I actually asked Jacob to pick the rest of my TBR for me, because I was just frustrated with this filming thing. It was not going well. So he's back here.
Hi.
He has picked 4 books for me. I had 4 already that I knew I was going to read. My goal for the month is 8 because I am participating in Whatever You Want-a-thon or Whateverthon, which is hosted by Maddie from Book Browsing Blog, and I'll link the announcement video down in the description below so you can go check it out if you have any interest in participating. But for this readathon, you set a goal of how many books you're going to read, and then there's a bingo board of prompts. So I'm really excited. I participated last year. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to participating again this year. And yeah, I just didn't know what to put on my TBR, and I was frustrated with the filming process, so decided to do something a little bit different. So I think we're going to start with the books that I already know I'm going to read. I have a couple of library books I need to read and turn back in, and a couple of other ones that I need to read for buddy read purposes and or poll purposes. And then after that, I have no idea what Jacob's picked. He's got them in a bag over here, and he is going to hand them to me and or hand me the bag. We'll figure that out when we get to it. We'll figure it out. And it's going to be mystery, so I will find out what books he picked. So the first couple of books I need to read are the library books. I have A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This is actually another book that Jacob picked. When I was doing TBR Betrayal, I got the prompt partner pick. This was what he had picked, so I have it from the library, and then obviously TBR Betrayal has kind of fallen apart this month, but I did want to go ahead and read this one before I turn it back in. This is a book that I need to read for my ongoing Goodreads Choice project, where I'm trying to read all of last year's sci-fi and fantasy nominees, so I did want to go ahead and get this one in here. The other one that I have from the library I need to read is also a Goodreads Choice book. It's The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik, the second book in the Scalomance series. I just read the first one a couple of weeks ago, and I liked it more than I was anticipating, but somehow a book with no plot managed to have a cliffhanger. This book literally had no plot whatsoever.
That's impressive.
For 300 plus pages. But it had a cliffhanger, and so I really need to find out what happens. I'm going to go ahead and read the second book too. And then I have The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynn. This is a Norse-inspired epic fantasy, and I know nothing beyond that. But this one won my poll for the poll pick prompt. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one in there. This is also a Goodreads Choice book I needed to read too. So getting 3 of those in there right off the bat. And then the last one I know I need to read is Jade War by Fonda Lee, second book in the Greenbone saga. I am buddy reading this with a friend of mine. She and I did not buddy read the first book, but we both read it at the same time, and we both loved it, and we ended up talking about it a lot. So we decided to go ahead and buddy read the second book together as well. So those are my 4 that I know I need to read for the month. I'm not sure how I'm gonna use those for the prompts yet, but I'll figure that out once I've actually read them. And now we have the mystery books. So how do we want to do this?
I'll just hand them to you.
Okay, so I'll just do this, stick my arm out, and
what I want to do is I want to tell you the prompt I picked these books with in mind. Because
okay.
I did pick all 4 of these based off a prompt that you
okay.
So this first one fulfills your under 300 pages prompt.
Okay.
There you go.
Ooh. Oh, In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. This one, you just read this one recently and liked it.
Yeah,
right?
I did. Well, as much as you can like a book like that.
Yeah.
I gave it 5 stars. I have come to refer it to as the best book I never want to read again. It's very good. It's extremely well written. However, for those of you who know what this book is about, it is as hard-hitting as you would expect it to be. But it is something that I do think that I categorize it as a must-read. Mm-hmm. Just because of what it covers and how it covers it. Yeah. But it's a 5-star book in my opinion. But I wouldn't say I enjoyed it.
That's fair. For those of you who don't know what this book is about, it is a memoir detailing the author's time in an abusive same-sex relationship. And if I remember correctly, she uses horror tropes to explore that idea.
It kind of goes back and forth on using several different types of tropes and writing styles. It's what I can definitively say about In the Dream House is that it is one of the most unique books I've ever read. Just in how Machado utilizes so many different writing styles, poetry, prose, very going back and forth between really subtle writing to this very upfront, in-your-face, blunt writing of what happened in this relationship. So it's very unique. I will say that much.
This is not something I would have thought to pick for this month, but it is an interesting pick. So yeah.
It's also 230-ish pages. So.
That is shorter than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And this has been on my shelf, and I hadn't even looked at how many pages it was.
Yeah, once I saw this, I had that one in mind for this prompt because I listened to this on audiobook about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the audiobook, of course I listened at 2 times speed, but even then the audiobook at normal length is only 5 hours long.
Yeah. Well, cool. Finally getting in one of the books that's been gifted to me, because you gave this to me and I hadn't read it yet.
Right. I actually forgot I gave it to you.
Yeah.
I've given you several books.
Yes, so. And I am terrible at actually getting to them in a timely manner.
So, this next one... This one I picked with orange on the cover.
Orange on the cover, okay.
Orange on the cover. There you go.
We're going with the heavy nonfiction vibe this month.
Wait.
So this is Underland by Robert McFarlane, which is a nonfiction book about geologic time and caves and things that will make you feel small and insignificant. Another friend of mine read this. Same one I'm buddy reading Jade War with. I don't know if she wants me to mention her name on camera, so I'm just we're dancing around it. But she read this and said that it gave her an existential crisis. So that was exciting. I was supposed to read this last month, and I did not read this last month. So actually that fits another prompt, because on a previous TBRs...
Well, speaking
also
of
there.
Which, that does lead into the next book I have for you, which was also on a previous TBR of yours.
I have a lot of those that would fit that.
Surprise, it's another nonfiction.
Oh, it is? It's another book you gifted to me, too.
I will say unintentional. I just realized when you mentioned, I was I picked 3 of the 4 books I picked 3 were nonfiction.
Cool. Well, I've been meaning to read more nonfiction this year, so,
there you go.
Getting them in. So this one's The Ice Pick Surgeon. Murder, fraud, sabotage, piracy, and other dastardly deeds perpetrated in the name of science. So it's a book about medical history and some of the crimes and other ethical and moral things. Immoral things that have happened in the name of advancing medical science.
That's another one that I've read recently.
Yeah.
And also really enjoyed. I also gave that one 5 stars.
Cool. I have been saying I needed to read more nonfiction this year, so... And you know what? I don't think I've read a single nonfiction this year, so...
There you go. Well, that also covers the less read genre. I'll let you take your pick which one covers which.
Yes.
So, your final book I picked, this one I put under favorite genre.
Okay.
Because it is a mystery, from what I was able to discern from the Goodreads description.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict. This one is a fictionalized account of what might have happened during the time that Agatha Christie was missing for 11 days. That's basically it. So yeah. Yeah, this will be an interesting one because I really like Agatha Christie's writing. So I don't know a ton about her life, but there is this famous period where she disappeared for 11 days and nobody knows where she is and she never told anybody what happened.
See, I never knew that.
Well, there you go. So that's what this book is about. It is a fictionalized account of what might have happened during those 11 days.
Interesting.
So yeah, this will be an interesting pick. And you know what? This also, I think, will work for the book about books prompt because it's a book about an author.
I didn't think about that.
I only thought about it because I saw a blog post earlier today that was books about books.
Fair
and
enough.
It had this one on it. So yeah, so your picks are, if I can get them off the desk again, these 4. We've got 3 nonfiction and a mystery that I kind of forgot was on my shelf. And then, add to that, we got those two, and a couple of library books, an ebook and an audiobook. So that's a pretty chunky TBR, but I think it's a really interesting selection.
Hey, you asked me to pick out 4 books. I picked out 4 books.
You know, I think, too, I wouldn't have thought to put nonfiction on this list, because I just haven't been reading it.
Yeah.
But I think that was also part of my frustration in trying to figure out what to put on my TBR for the month, since I wasn't doing TBR Betrayal, is I was putting, like, a ton of fantasy books on my list.
Yeah.
So it was, like, 8 fantasy and sci-fi, which I think was part of why I was feeling uninspired, because it was like, I'm already reading a lot of that, and it's just more of the same.
It's kind of inundated a little bit. That night, and like I said, I did not pick 3 nonfiction books on purpose.
It just kind of happened.
It kind of happened mainly because In the Dream House and Ice Pick Surgeon, like I said, those were 2 books I've read recently and would very much recommend.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of why I picked those once I kind of figured out, those would fit some of these prompts. So I picked those 2, and then the other ones, I just kind of picked at random, honestly.
Fair. Well, cool. And you knew I'd been meaning to read Underland. You knew it was on the TBR, because I told you about it. Yeah.
I remember you mentioning it.
Yeah. So that and my library books are my TBR for the month. Thank you for picking some books out for me. I am feeling much more excited about this.
Of course.
Now that I have these in front of me, because I would not have thought to put these on the list. So yeah, that is it. I'm going to have to immediately get started because it's actually June 3rd today. I've been trying to film this for 3 days now.
It's been a great time.
It's been a great time. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, just appreciate you a whole lot. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye!